continuing the conversation from the previous video, things, they're not going to be any better. To discuss that, we, of course, have Tim Pashot, the Liberty Advisor, and, of course, the news is coming in. There's so much to keep track of. Oil is below $20. There's a looming housing market crash, according to some experts, but it's okay. It's fine because you get a little piece of paper from the government giving you a little $1,000, $200 in their limited trial run of communism. So everything's going to be fine.
And guess whose name's on it? On that little piece of paper.
Trump's has having his name on it. And there's also a new convenient app that allows you to see the status of your little stimulus check that's going to take weeks, if not months, to get to you. The app is as troublesome as the actual rollout of this, as it has gotten a rocky debut, according to CNBC, and even the app doesn't work well. The way that these checks are going to be given out, again, as we've been covering here, is just filled with red tape, filled with bureaucracy. You don't all get a check. Checks are going to be going out all the way up until September. Let's not hope that there's massive hyperinflation. I know there's people predicting it tomorrow. Let's not be too hyperbolic here, but there's a lot of issues to get into. Tim, what are you looking at, especially with industrial production, oil, and a lot of other stuff, including the housing market, which is really, really stuff that a lot of people should be paying more attention to?
Yeah, well, this being, April 15th, we don't have to file, today, we got a few more months to do so. So, it is sort of fitting that as, we are rolling into what's traditionally, tax day, that, a lot of us are then getting, different refunds. Not a lot of us have actually gotten them. I have heard of a few people who've told me that they see it in their bank accounts where they can already see that it's being direct deposited. One of those guys probably getting it today. I have heard through the grapevine some other people that actually have been receiving those. So let us know in the comments if you actually have, been getting yours. I think that would be good to see those. But on those, as Luke alluded to before, we will have Donald Trump's name. So of course, he is a master marketer. So, I can't really, blame him too much on that one and wanting to, as people are, going and, who knows what's going to happen if there's even going to be an election. Not that elections really matter. But, as they go and maybe mail in their votes and before they, before it gets stolen somehow through the deep state, you're going to be able to remember that Donald Trump did have his name on there. So then that way he can get
temporary communism brought to you by Donald J. Trump, the right-wing capitalist, supposedly. Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, no, it's Republican fascism, so it's okay this time. So yeah, there is a new app, or it sounds like it's more like a website, but I'm sure that this is going to be used to probably steal people's data. But it's also just goes to show you that they're going to be rolling all this data out and they're giving people direct deposits. It just goes to show like how much data the government really does have on you, that every American, that they can just boom, have all their direct deposit information. They can go, oh, now you didn't file your taxes, so you need to go into this other special app, or you need to go and get on the grid to get your $1,200, or, if you even qualify for the $1,200. So I just see this being more, now at least we don't have that digital dollar yet. And we do have a story coming up in China where they're rolling out a digital Yuan over there. So you're definitely going to make sure you check in for that. But we do have, we go on screen here, will you have to pay back the coronavirus stimulus check plus 6 other stimulus myths debunked? I did have this article highlighted and now somehow my highlights went away. But anyways, the checks, which are worth up to $1,200 for individuals earning up to $75,000 and $2,400 for individuals earning up to $150,000, plus $500 for each dependent under 17 years old. It's weird how they didn't use under 18 years old, but go figure. A lot
of people are going to be surprised because a lot of people are not going to be getting this check, especially if they're filed under dependent for someone else. So if you're filing your parents or your kids as dependents, they're not getting anything. Just people should know that.
Yeah, and one of the other things here we see from the article, so if it turns out that you should receive a larger credit based on your 2020 adjusted gross income, then you will receive the difference next year. Another thing that I thought, was pretty helpful to know is, what if you were, underneath the limit this year? So let's say, 2019 taxes, you were below that threshold, but then you have a good year this year. Not that many people are going to have a good year this year besides maybe me and, a few other people. But, as you go forward, that they're saying that if you earn more than whatever that threshold is in 2020, that they're not going to then claw it back on taxes. So I think that is, at least one good thing that gives some clarity, because there's so many weird little nuances and situations, or, what if you, are not married last year, but you're married this year, or you're right around that threshold. So there's always going to be unintended consequences of everything they do, Luke.
Yeah, this is just so insane and shows you how incompetent and backwards and just nonsensical government is. I mean, other governments have rolled out similar measures and they're very simple. They're just like, okay, here, we'll give you a stimulus. Here, we'll protect you this way. Here, we'll give you this. That's it. Bada bing, bada boom, it's done. Here, it's like, okay, hold on here. We're gonna, it's like watching a tortoise just freaking move and watching everyone else just speed ahead. It's I know they're trying to do the right thing. I know a lot of people are going to be very, very happy that they get a little bit of help, but essentially, again, as we've been saying, chicken scraps compared to filet mignons that the bankers are getting, and this is absolutely nothing compared to the biggest wealth transfer that's really going to affect you and the purchasing power of your dollar soon coming up in the supermarket. If there's, hopefully not food shortages. Very small percentage that there will be food shortages. Still grow garden, in my opinion. Sorry, I could deviate in so many different topics here. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Joe.
and I've seen actually where I was on Drudge yesterday, where even like seed banks were having like record demand, and they were running out of seeds to even be able to give to people. So it's when we were talking, a month ago, we're just past a month over here on this channel, and we were mentioning that people should go out and get their own servable food and go. And they're like, "Oh, you guys are fear mongering." I'm like, at this stage of the game, calling it a fear monger is so crazy. But yeah, here we go.
I've been saying that since February, and luckily I've been very kind of ahead of the curve, especially after learning about 2008. Luckily, I put in options to buy silver a couple weeks ago. Now it's very hard to buy silver. Luckily, just even a week ago, I'm like, oh man, I need some seeds. Just looking at all the trajectory, I bought a little seed vault. Uh, you know, over a week ago, and now the seed vault that I bought is not available anywhere. The storable food that I was having a relationship with, that I was selling all the way back in 2013, I believe. I was working with them. I started working with them again. It's called safepreparedandready.com. I was telling people about it, and already now they have a 12-week delay in shipment because of so many people buying it up. So again, can't buy silver, can't buy seeds, can't buy storable food. There's a huge delay, but luckily, because of the signals that I've been seeing, I was able to get ahead of the curve and also tell our viewing audience, which again, it's important to be very aware of everything that's happening here, because unprecedented times that we're living in, to say the least.
Yeah, unprecedented. And one of the things I wanted to do with Donald Trump, and actually I got a ton of backlash on this. The first day he was in office, I wrote, I had a post where it was "killed a precedent," but it's a precedent, not the president. And if you have a shirt on that, it's sort of like a spelling test for cops too, to see if they actually know what you're talking about. That's from Ernest Hancock. I stole that one from him. But anyways, myth 3: it will take months to get my check, and so don't listen to Luke Rudowski. Apparently, their government is going to give you your money right away as long as they have your banking information on file. If you don't have your banking information on file, you can go to this website or one of their other websites and go to their app and put your information on file. I'm not recommending you do, but this is out there. And then Social Security and other benefits recipients aren't eligible. I know we don't have very many people on Social Security probably watching us, but with a few exceptions, as long as you have a Social Security number and meet the income eligibility requirements, you will receive a check. And then if you have not filed 28 taxes, they're basically saying they're going to go off your 2018 taxes, but to go do so immediately. And there's some other issues going on over here.
Yeah, I mean, they released their own report saying if you earn this much, you're going to get your check this, and then it goes all the way back in September. I don't know if they might have actually done something to fix that, but so far I haven't seen any information about that. But I'm going to take a look at that, or is that an old article potentially? That's also another option here. But let's keep going.
Let's see here. So in terms of article date over here going, it is yes, 2 days ago. So April 13th at 4. So yeah, not even 2 days ago. But in terms of getting those checks, the economy needs you to spend that, because Bank of America shows how consumer spending changed every day over the course of the past month. And see it absolute cratering over here. So going down on the screen, just absolutely falling off a cliff. And it says early this morning, the Department of Commerce reported that the March retail sales saw the biggest sequential drop on record and biggest annual decline since the financial crisis. We've got also U.S. industrial production crashes by most since end of World War II. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. And then WTI, West Texas Intermediary, extends losses below $20. $20 is $20. Luke has some shirts on his Teespring store that pretend to the same thing. I see him smiling over there. We've got him on screen. And after record surge in crude inventories, so that's really crazy. You see oil down $20. Also crazy. Goldman says downturn will be 4 times worse than housing crisis, then an unprecedented recovery. So, and it's funny because they actually have that in quotes, unprecedented. I almost think that instead of having unprecedented in quotes, they should have recovery in quotes, because that recovery will be the recovery for, the big bankers, big pharma, the vaccine manufacturers, military industrial complex, the top 1%. Not that I'm against the top 1%. I mean, I want to be top 1% and even better than that. So, I mean, I'm not begrudging anybody that's in there. And it's more like the top 0.00001% out of the ones, pulling all the strings, because there's a gigantic difference even between the 0.1 or the 1% and the 0.1%. Gigantic difference. I mean, they've got about as much as common as somebody who's making 400,000 and someone who's making 20,000. But yeah, I mean, so Goldman Sachs sees the economic hit from the coronavirus will be far worse in the near term than the financial crisis. The U.S., because it's all their guys in power who are making sure that happens. The second quarter activity likely dropped 35%, while unemployment could hit 15%. However, the recovery in the second half of the year could be stronger than anything the U.S. has ever seen. And they're saying that the global. Okay, I've already read that. Anyways, yeah, I had some notes on that were highlighted that went away. Also, this goes right along with it. Homebuilder Confidence Index takes biggest 1 month dive in history as coronavirus slams economy. And actually, I was initially kind of roped into buying a home, and I canceled. I had a home that we canceled the order on there. I didn't want to. I was begging my significant other at the time to not buy a home, and now okay, well, we lost some of the down payment on that. So if you want to become a client so I can help restore that money, you guys can do so at libertyadvisor.com. But yeah, we saw the biggest dive ever. And so right now, I mean, if you're out there trying to rush in to buy a home because, oh my God, these rates are super low and I need to go get a home right now, in my opinion, that's the dumbest thing you could do in the world at right this second. I mean, if you are going to buy a home, you should make sure that you're at least in that home you want to be in that home for 10 years. I mean, don't go into a home thinking that, hey, you're going to go flip this in 3 years, because I'm out here in ground zero of basically the housing crisis being in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, actually, yes, going back into the article, though, a crucial indicator of home builder sentiment suffered its biggest monthly drop in the index's 35-year history this month as coronavirus pandemic hammered the American economy. Builder confidence in the market for single-family homes plunged 42 points to a reading of 30 in April. And then as the article goes on to say, somewhere down here, it did mention that basically June of 2012 was really the low point for this index, and then basically this is the first time we've gotten back there. But as I mentioned before, some of my highlights went away. Well, June of 2012 was when I bought my first home, and then I sold it a year and a half ago in preparation for thinking that this was going to come like a year and a half ago. So unfortunately, I have pissed away a lot of money in rent. But take a look at some of my neighbors over here. I've got neighbors who bought houses for like $500,000 that are now worth $400,000 just and they bought those in 2006, and they've been underwater for like 14 years. And so for everyone who wants to rush out to go buy a home, or if you're buying one at the complete bubble, and people sometimes have a very weird mindset about this. They think, okay, well, only poor people rent, and not the case. I mean, there's a lot of poor people who had to go get their homes foreclosed on, go through short sales. And I'm here literally in ground zero. I mean, maybe Vegas might be the only other place that was harder hit. And then but then I moved here from New York. And then when I moved here from New York, people are like, "Oh, well, what an idiot! He's moving to a place where didn't you see that the housing market absolutely cratered there? And now you're going to go move to Arizona." I'm like, that's exactly. You want to be a contrarian. You want to do when everyone else is zigging, you want to zag. When everyone else is running away from something, you want to be running to it. Now, cautiously. For example, but usually that's sort of like a Doug Casey approach. I mean that's an approach that I've been doing. And Warren Buffett would even say, buy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are buying. And so right now, I think it's better that people just wait, but it's all localized. So in Arizona, we're not seeing like a huge housing decline because we got a lot of people from California coming over here and invading our state. Now I moved from New York, so obviously not everybody that comes from New York is bad. I mean, Luke is from I'm from upstate New York, Canada, as Luke would like to call it. But it doesn't mean that everyone coming from California is bad. But unfortunately, a lot of people are like, oh, well, we effed up our state and now we're going to move over here and can't have any. And then let's go all enact the same legislation that already caused us to be messed up to begin with. And then just got the last couple articles here.
You damn transplant. I just wanted to add that before you get into the next article. But good point.
Right.
You definitely don't want to be buying high and selling low. And a lot of market activity and emotional actions just totally are bewildering to see. Good information about the housing stuff, since of course the rates are low right now, and a lot of people are really curious in that. But again, also all depends on where you're at. The New York City real estate market is going to be a lot different than the farming market in Pennsylvania. So a lot of different variables there. A lot of people say it's going to be a renter's kind of market, but good points there, and I definitely kind of agree on your overall assessment.
Yeah, I mean, farmers only is going to be a lot different than Tinder. No, it's just I don't know. So just making jokes on that.
Invest in farmers only, condoms and toilet paper. Trust me.
Yeah.
If someone would have told you that in January, like, hey, like I traveled in a time machine, I'm here with you right now. Hey, invest in toilet paper, condoms, and farmers only. Go heavy on those.
And
now,
sex toys too, because they're running out of those too, apparently too, and maybe lube from everything that the government's going to give us. I know of what's been going on, but a family show, and I'm telling my inner Alex Jones family show. Sorry, after he goes on like a big rant. Bank of America profit plunges 45% on $4.8 billion in expected credit losses from coronavirus. And Bank of America joined J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, setting aside billions of dollars for upcoming loan losses as the bank braces for a surge in defaults and delinquencies on its loans amid the U.S. economic shutdown. Goes on to say the three big lenders have collectively stashed away $17 billion to cover defaults, and banks are trying to get ahead of the tsunami of loan losses they expect to come from the pandemic, bringing large swaths of the global economy to a virtual standstill while defaults haven't yet spiked. Bank efforts to build up their reserves show they're bracing for a major recession. And then just lastly, I just want to point out over 25% of Michigan's workforce files for unemployment. I mean, that's just about as crazy as you can imagine. Actually, hold on. I've got something else that's even crazier. So something else even crazier. Well, I guess it's not really that crazy because, we've been talking about this for a while. But China's digital yuan reportedly tests in 4 cities. And article goes on to say over here, I can't pronounce this, Xinjiang news area will have
you racist.
Hey, you're saying man, you're saying bada bing, bada bing, bada boom, over here, appropriating my culture.
Lately, I've been watching The Sopranos, so I apologize.
Okay, well, Italians are I was gonna say pussies, but yeah, so we don't really care. So let's just say we'll have enhanced intelligent infrastructure that spans satellite information service, sensor recognition, a 5G network, supercomputing, and a big data facilities. The city has already attracted the country's tech giants Tencent, Alibaba, JD.com, and Baidu, with President Xi Jinping visiting on more than one occasion. As recently reported, China appears to have been accelerating the development of the digital yuan, notwithstanding the COVID-19 crisis. And so, how convenient now that, everyone's calling for, cash is dirty and might have coronavirus on it, and we're going to use this and then have, along with 5G, and I'm not equating 5G with coronavirus. I'm just saying that 5G is part of the police state, surveillance state rollout. But what they're doing with this digital yuan, I mean, that is so they're going to marry that with the social credit score. I can't, and if you guys go visit, We Are Change or Luke's store has got a shirt with the say no to the social credit score. That is I can't think of a more important issue of our time, of our generation, especially if, you're 25 to 55 years old right now, to try to stop this digital currency that's coming. But yeah, I am a big fan of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies because everything is going to be going digital. It's just, do you want one that's not tracked, traced, surveilled? Yes, they can technically track, trace, and surveil Bitcoin, but there's other ones that are out there. This is a whole other subject, something I cover in great detail. It's all going digital. It's all going to be eventually tracked, traced, and surveilled. And it's funny, as I've got like an Amazon truck that's driving by me over here. So as I looking out the window.
Don't feed the beast. Don't feed the Amazon beast. Amazon, by the way, is working on breaking encryption for cryptocurrencies, so anything could happen. I hear a really good cryptocurrency that protects privacy is Monero, and I'm seeing a lot of different chatter about that. Again, not financial advice. We're just telling you what we're kind of seeing here and where we're seeing the kind of market move and coalesce to. Yeah, Don't feed the beast. Don't feed Amazon. You're literally financing and funding your enslavement. Try to not use Google. Try to use DuckDuckGo. Try to use as many alternatives as you can. Don't use Gmail. Use Proton Mail. Again, we could just keep going on and on and on about all the different alternatives that I personally use, that we kind of diversified on our platforms on. We were just talking about even moving away to different platforms. A lot of different possibilities. Anything else you want to say, Tim, before we go? And do you want to close it off here before we get into the World Health Organization losing their moolah for their corruption that they just had announced by Donald Trump?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of funny that yesterday I mean, not that hilarious, but in the red title down below, we had "Who Has the Power," and now but it was about Donald Trump or Cuomo, and now it could basically be, who lost the power. But anyways, they've lost. Maybe they haven't lost power, but they've lost money, and so money, comes with power and control. But no, that's all I've got, Luke. I think we've talked about it a lot today, but we've got a lot more coming up on Change the News channel. If you guys have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell. This is a growing channel, so if you're able to like this, comment, share, it all helps the algorithm. Really appreciate your watching. We've got another great video coming up for you guys on Change the News channel.
That was good.